And now, from Glasgow.
So hi, welcome to stage 17. This is the roof strut, and the pieces that we've got now, these are all individually numbered, but they do look the same. So we'll see how it goes, but I'm just going to call this, oh, they are all numbered the same, sorry. If you look at the instructions, they've actually been numbered separately with the same number. So this is a trailer roof strut times 4, and this is a plastic piece. And obviously what's going to happen is that that's going to go across there like so. I am struggling with space at the moment. We have also got these little connectors. They're calling them central roof strut connectors and end roof strut connectors. Now we've got 3 long ones. They look a little bit like Lego bricks. So these are the 3 central roof strut connectors, and they've got 4 holes in them, and these are obviously going to be to connect one strut to another strut like that, which doesn't look perfect, but okay. And then we've got the end roof strut connectors, and there's only 2 holes in them, and then obviously what's going to happen is that's going to go on there, and that will fit into the ends. So we've also got 3 sets of screws. We've got DP15, which are these ones, and there's only 5 of those, so only going to need 4, and these are flathead, these are countersunk screws. DP5s, we've got just a few, 3 of these, and these are the black, I think, PB screws, and then we've got 17 km screws. That's going to be a lot of fun, isn't it? Right, so we start off by taking off one of the roof struts and one of the connectors, which is the long 4-way connector. That goes on the end there, and then we need to connect those with the DD12s. DD12s are these ones that we've got 17 of. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tip all of those out, and we'll keep those separate. And it's going to be a little bit fiddly to get it started, because obviously holding the screwdriver and holding this piece in, but once you get the first screw in, that's going to be a piece of cake. Now they've actually put the end one in first, which is sort of in the middle, and that's not happening. Let's see if I've got a magnetized screwdriver. There we go. So they're actually telling us in the magazine to pop this one in first, like so, and that works for me. And then we're popping the second one in. As I say, once you've got these first one in, it kind of acts as a third hand, and because we're putting 2 screws in, it's then going to line that up hopefully perfect, which it does just about. Okay, and then our next step is to pop the next piece of the roof strut on. Make sure that goes in, secure that with 2 screws just like we did earlier. I'm wondering whether to just drop a little bit of paint on those screws. I don't know if, I don't think they'll be seen. Right, so that's our first piece of roof structure done. Now what we're going to be needing to do is connect this one and this one, which is going to be done exactly the same way. So I'm going to do a little cut, and I'm going to do a little speed up. Okay, so little change in way that I'm going to do it. The last piece where I've just popped these in, I've just popped that up there so that you can see that in fast motion. When I'll get on with the last pieces, So we want to just pop this end connector in, and again it's pretty much exactly the same as it was on the rest of it, which you're seeing built up there. And we're just going to pop, these are just going to connect with 2 screws. Now do be careful, we are screwing into plastic, so we don't want to over tighten them, otherwise we will strip the threads. So far so good for me. You know me, I normally get 1 or 2. Do you know what, I just talked that up. That one has just stripped a little bit. Sometimes it's the quality of the plastic, sometimes they've gone in too hard. But this is why I like the fact that they've given us... Let me just double check, because I might actually use the wrong screws. No, I have used the correct screws. No, I haven't. That's why. Sorry guys. So these end pieces need to be secured in with DP15 screws. That will explain why they won't tighten, but that's not a problem, because what I'll do... So why have we got 5 spares? That seems rather a lot. Right, so watch that guys, these are slightly thicker screws. So, yeah, that's gone in perfect. So, yeah, I find that quite interesting, unless there's something else going in somewhere. That's quite intriguing. Right, so there's the end on, and what I'm going to do is the actual part where we're putting the big struts together, I'm going to make that 10 seconds shorter than this piece. It kind of all makes sense. I'm kind of talking this as I'm building, thinking about the editing, but I think that'll just save you watching stuff over and over and over. Oops, drop the screw. There we go guys, and that's the roof strut done, which is coincidentally the same length as the trailer. Okay, so I'm going to take a quick cut because we do need the trailer. I'll see you in a moment. Now, when I said the rear trailer, I obviously meant the rear trailer doors. So what it's asking us to do is to keep an eye out for these pegs here, and we're also on the lookout for some holes on the back there. This is going to be really difficult to show you guys. I'm going to turn it around and see if we can get any better with the body camera. Let's have a flick. Yeah, that'll work. So what we're going to do is we're looking for 2 holes there, and we're looking for a peg there. Sorry, yeah, 1 on each side. And what we're going to do is we're going to line that up on there. Now I can see why these struts are a different shape. So what you've got is you've got a couple of pegs in there, and they're going to slip into that joust. So it's kind of lining up 4 different areas at once, and there it goes. In, no, not in. Right, there we go, that's gone in fine. Right, and that is going to be secured in with, let me double check, DD12 screws. DD12 screws, which I have lost. How can I lose them already? Okay, I'm going to take a cut, guys, if I can find my mouse. Okay, so the DD05 screws, sorry, the DD12 screws haven't actually been supplied in this issue. Now, unfortunately, they have been supplied in this issue. KM screws. KM, right. But I've not got them. I've been given DP15, which I've used all but 1, DP05, which I've used. No, I haven't used yet. They're coming up. And then the the DD12s. Yes, of course. Sorry. That doesn't sound right to me, though. Yeah, right. Sorry, I've got myself in the muddle, guys. Now, I'm really sorry. I can't show you this. I can't show you can't show me building this on camera in an angle that I can actually build it. So you're just going to have to kind of trust me. So what I'm going to do is, this is going to be quite awkward to do. So get yourself a reliable screwdriver. Hold the doors in place and line them up. And get one screw in. And I can see now why I've got so many spares. Right, now that's not held in place really tight, but it's held in as well as I can. Now they're actually telling us to put the, let me do this, and then I'll show you what they've told us to do. And it is, my trailer doors are actually trying to arc away from the trailer, so it's going to need a little bit of force. But let me tell you what I've done, and then I'll tell you what the instructions are going to tell us to do, and then what I've actually done. Right, so let me turn this round and switch to body camera so that I can show you. So it's actually told us to place the doors, whoops, cats have just gone mad. Right, so it's actually telling us to screw the doors in there, where my finger is and where my finger is. And in the next step, it's going to ask you to put these two there in. I've actually done it backwards, for the reason being that that top bit is arcing away slightly. And then once I've got this in, the first screws in, then I can get the second ones in. But it really doesn't want to fit that well. So I might even have to do it off camera. Okay, so that's that back door on. Now I've turned it this way so you can see what I'm talking about. It does actually say to pop those two screws in first. Sorry, these two ones, that one and that one. But I've actually found it easier to pop those two in. That will bring these two into place. And then once that's screwed on, it's a little bit loose, but the bottom bit is in nice and firm. And obviously once we get the side bits in there and then the side bits on the top, that is going to be rock solid. So let's move on to issue 18. Okay, when I said issue 118, I actually meant let's finish off 117. So we've got the overhead view here. Here we've got the big bar that we've got that we made earlier on. What we need to do is we need to rotate that so that all this hollow bit is upwards. And where the end is, you see at the top of the doors there'll be a hole. I can't show you because it's so big, but I'm going to pop that in, and there'll be a hole on the corresponding front panel. And what I'll do is I'll just switch my camera and you'll be able to see the hole on the other side. So you'll see a hole there, and that's on the other side is where the bar is. And what we will be doing is we should have three DP5 screws left over, which we'll only need two. What we're going to do is we're going to take one of those, let you find a screwdriver, we're going to pop that into the hole in the back doors like so, and I'm actually just going to screw that in nice and fairly loose. Well, actually that's gone in really tight really easily, doesn't require that many screws, many turns. And then what we're going to do, very carefully, obviously if I was making this off camera I wouldn't need to turn this, but I'm turning it just to show you. So you will see, if I don't get tangled up, that there is a hole on the front that corresponds to the other end of the So be very, very careful when you pick this up, guys. So on the front panel you have a hole just there. That's where the remaining screw is going to go, and make sure that all lines up properly. Put the screw into there. I think I've just lost the screw. There we go. Now, I'm not a truck expert. I have driven 7.5 tons for my sins, but I actually think that this is going to be a rail where you get like these tie-down straps, and they'll all slide along the middle, and that helps to secure your load in place. Now, if I can switch my view to overhead, and you see it looks quite flimsy. I believe it will screw down these tiny holes there, so that's going to screw into the top. But on the real thing, let me move this so you've got a true overhead. So there will be straps there which you can then bring down either side, and that will help to secure the load. But yeah, it looks a little bit flimsy at the moment, guys, but I think that's actually superb. Again, it's that issue we have about the boxers. At the moment we've only really got two sides of a cube. We've got the front bit, which is the front panel. We've got the back bit, which is the doors, and that's secured by a this isn't really supporting. In the next coming up issues, we're going to be building the next two sides of that cube. I suspect then we'll build up the other sides, and then we'll have this lovely strong rigid bit. But you can see by moving the doors, it is moving that middle support. But yeah, it's nearly there, guys. So yeah, that is it then, guys. That is issue 117. So let's have a look what they're doing with issue 118. And I've lost my mouse. I can't stop recording because I've lost my mouse. Okay, what do we do now? Okay, so issue 118, and we get the following parts. We've got one long metal bar, that's called the front right side frame part 1, and in the magazine they have it something like that, although it could actually be that way. At this particular point I'm not 100% sure. We also get the front right side frame part 2, which is definitely this way round, which makes me, because there's a little channel in the top, it makes me think that this is the correct way round. There's a channel on that side and flat on the other. This looks bent to me, but I'm not 100% sure. We've also got a connector which comes in a little bag separate from the other pieces, and this again is metal, and this is called connector. And then we get a bag of DP15 screws, which I'm going to put there. And my bag looks almost like DP16, however the other bag is DD12, so I'm not going to worry, I'm going to assume that is correct. So these are the DD12 screws, and these are a little bit longer, and these are KB screws. So let me get these screws ready. This would be a nice simple issue. So what we're going to do is we're going to begin by taking our front side connector piece number 2, which is the smaller one, and we're going to take our connector and we're going to place that connector on there like so. You'll see that the hole should correspond on the other side, and what we're going to do is we're going to pop in 2 DD12 screws. Bear with me 1 second. Right, so we take 2 of the DD12 screws. Again, we're going to be doing this pretty much exactly the same as we did with the top bar. So it's going to be a bit awkward to get the first screw in. Line these 2 up nicely and pop any of the screws, and then that can go in as tight as you like because it is going into metal. And then we'll take a second screw like so, and we'll just pop that into the second screw hole like so. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to use this to connect our longer bar up. Now, ever so simple to decide which is right and which is wrong. We take this this channel, and we line it up with the channel on the opposite bar. We just pop the two in together like that. And again, we're going to pop in another DD12 screw. And holding these as best we can, I'm going to go for the end screw. I'm going to pop that in as best we can. And I've managed to pop that in all the way. There we go. And then that leaves us one screw, which we're going to pop our fourth DD12 screw in. And easy peasy. There we go. So that gives us a longer bar. So what we need to do now then is, with our shorter bar at the front and our little channel facing upwards, we're going to pop that onto the side of the trailer. Now we've got two holes at the end, which is going to line up with our front wall, and then each of these holes there is going to line up with each one of these joists. Now these might be out of place slightly, and I'm trying to think how it's going to be best to work. Maybe start from the other end. So we place in one joist there, yeah, and then we can line it up. That's actually going to be a little bit tricky, so I've just come up with a better idea. So each of these are going to be lined up with a DD12 screw. That can't be right because I've run out of DD12 screws. So let me have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 9. Yeah, right. They should. Right. Okay. They've made a bit of a mistake here, guys. Right, so what they've done is, on the previous stage they've told us to use DD12 screws. For some reason I have, yeah, that is correct. I have used DD12 screws. But then on this stage they tell us to use DD12 screws, and there aren't enough. So fix the front end of the frame. Right, let me reread this again because I may have read this wrong. So DD12 is 7, no, sorry, ignore me. So what we need to do is we need to pop this onto the end there like so, and attach this end with DD12 screws. However, I think that's a little bit awkward, and I think it's going to be easier to start from this end. Because these are plastic, let me see if I can move this in better. Right, so they're asking us to fix here with DD12 screws, and then each of these holes is going to fix to the joist with DD15 screws, and I think that's a little bit awkward. I think I would rather work from this end. So I'm going to work this backwards. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get a DD15 screw. I'm not even going to worry about this for now. And I'm going to pop the first screw in on the joist about halfway. Okay, so it's not in fully. Okay, and you see I've got lots of movement there. Then what I'm going to do is get my next DD15 screw ready. And I'm going to make sure that next joist goes into that hole, okay? Okay, and I'm going to pop that in. Let's go with the old cliche of mine, just enough to bite. So that's in just enough to bite. And then what we can now do is get our next screw. Maybe skip one. So we'll make sure that joist is in the hole there. Then we'll skip one and go to this next one. And that's going in just ever so slightly. In fact, that's a bit too much. Maybe jump a third one. Okay, so now I've actually skipped. I've done 2 joists. I've skipped 2 joists, and I'm going to pop this in and it is quite literally just enough to bite, okay, because we need some wiggle room. So we'll move the next joust into position and make sure they're all in place, and skip as many as you like. I'm actually skipping to the second last one, and that one's in just enough to bite, and then I'm going to go to the last one. That's going to go in just enough to bite, and then I'm just going to pop screws into the 3 that I've missed out, again just enough to bite, and then this is all going to hold it in place for you enough to get this bar on the end. Like so. It's just a little bit too long to be working on one end. As you work on one end, the other end's going to be doing its own thing. Right, so now we can get our 2, well, I say 2 remaining. We should have 3 DD12 screws left. So I'm going to connect the end up, and this can go in as tight as you like because it is going into metal. Beautiful, beautiful. And this is beginning to give us our 3rd side of the cube. There we go, and that's a lot more solid already. So now those 2 ends are in, so now we can go back to these and we can just make sure each of these are as tight as we can. Remember, they're going into plastic, so we don't want to over tighten them. But I don't think they're going to fully tighten. How very strange. There we go. So just screw them until the resistance changes. If you over tighten, it's going to strip the threads. There we go. So this one's a little bit more precision work, but they're not going in that tight. It's almost as though we've used the wrong screws, but some screws are biting, but as long as they don't fall out, everything will be fine. So there we go, guys. We've added, I've got to say a difficult word now, a lot of rigidity to this, and that's looking really, really nice now. So yeah, I'm really happy with that. Right, so it's going to get slightly tedious, some of you may say. The next few issues, we're going to be building these sides up. So this is the end of this stage. I believe the next stage we're going to be doing is doing this side, which then means I'll be able to fix my broken joust, which as you can see is here, and then we'll work on this side and then this side. So yeah, that's it for me on this episode then, guys. So hopefully you'll catch me next week when we can work on the next side. And I've lost the mouse again. Where's that gone? Right, take care, guys. I'll catch you in the next episode.